The Fiji Women's Rights Movement runs a Young Women in Leadership program.
Yes.
According to the website, the program is targeted at developing and enhancing young women's leadership and capacity to create positive change in their communities. From your knowledge of the program, what have been some of the most effective ways of developing leadership skills for the program participants?
Okay. Well, it's a very empowering program, and I'm always inspired in relation to that program. And the beginnings of that program, if I might just regress or backtrack a bit, is just that it started when we were looking at leadership, but at the same time we were looking at how is it that we can contribute to girls being empowered. And it was a little bit really meant for the organization itself, because we felt as if we were Fiji Women's Rights Movement and we looked behind us, where are the young women, where is the movement? So we felt we had to develop a program or support an initiative. So we asked around, we asked a lot of young women, we asked the existing members, we asked them how is it that they came to be interested in the organization, how were they interested in the women's movement, how were they interested in gender issues, addressing gender inequality. And they said that they learned a lot from their peers, that sphere of influence. And seminars taught, well, now it would be probably learning everything off the internet and Facebook, but how people get that information. I mean, this was a time when there was no Facebook, there was no major internet, so it was a way of like, okay, what can we do? So we developed this program, bringing young women together, and also in an environment where you're learning from each other. You're reading, you're having an information session, and then you're sharing. But with the feminist movement and the feminist principles was really integrated into this program, was also how can you make a change? How can you transform it? How can you be transformative? So if you've seen the problems, these are issues, and not be disempowered by, oh, this is a problem in the Pacific, and be resigned to it. It's, okay, what can you do? What small steps can you make? So the program has a very important advocacy element to it, and recognizing that change in the area of gender inequality is a long-term process. It takes time. So how is it that we can make a change incrementally, or how can we see some of the changes? So this is the Young Women's Emerging Leaders program. So a lot of it is sharing, an action, an advocacy, and also partnerships, or learning from each other, and taking those lessons and then applying it. We've seen some fantastic things in terms of the fact that it's not just been for Fiji Women's Rights Movement staff, but it's also they've branched out and gone into their various workplaces, and that's what we wanted to do. It would be about, okay, if you were in a different workplace, how might you address gender inequality there? Or what might be the tools or lessons that you might then apply? So I think that's been great in that regard, that it's had a sort of incremental impact, and it's sort of branched itself out. Yeah.
What are some of the most challenging aspects of the program for the participants?
I think the program, what have they found challenging? I think they've, the one challenging part was need to focus on younger girls. And so, the program was 18 to 25, and they were saying, oh, actually, you've got to work with younger girls. So under the leadership of the current Chief Executive Officer, Virisila Mbondromo, they've decided to take some of the elements of the program and target younger girls. So these are younger girls with programs on, drama, being involved in the environment, being green girls, taking care of the environment. So they're branching out to some of those aspects of sort of looking at the younger girls. The other, I think it'd be great to ask some of the program alumni, those who have participated in the program, as to what they have found. But I think, of course, the challenge with any of these programs is you're in a space where it's safe, where you can express yourself, where you can give your opinion. And of course, the challenge is when you go out into the community or go back home, how do you garner that support? How might you get that support? And how might you then be the influence? And that's why with leadership, in terms of the leadership and governance in relation to women in leadership, they talk about 30% and they say a critical mass. And why they say that is because when they've found and they've seen women enter into the into Parliament, and when they're a lone voice, women, it becomes very isolating. So how is it that you can build a critical mass so that you've got these perspectives, you've got these voices, and of course you're empowered with the support that you have. So I think those are some of the challenges that the Emerging Leaders Program has had to deal with. Yeah.
Do you think it's important for a similar program to be run for boys?
Of course. I mean, in fact, boys and men are critical to addressing gender inequality. This is a problem. It affects men as it affects women. So it's not something that, even though the focus of Fiji Women's Rights Movement is, of course, targeting young women, at the same time, this program can be supported in terms of young boys, young boys in terms of dealing with relationships, being advocates themselves. How is it, some very, very positive messages that you can give men and young boys that this is a problem that, they should be addressing as well. So I think a program for young boys, or the existing programs like the Scouts Association or youth networks, church groups, and sharing this information or sharing the challenges, the problems that we have in our Pacific Island countries, and then what can they do about it? It's the same thing in terms of leadership, commitment, and wanting to address an issue and seeing some of the changes. Yeah.